Keme. I don't know the Native American tribe that it comes from, but Keme means secret. We say she came secret in the night because we thought that Alaska had given birth to all of them that she was going to have. There was no movement there. So she started labor at about 12:30 in the afternoon, and it was around 9:30. And I decided everybody had to eat, including us. So we left Alaska alone, and we fed the other guys, and we came back in to check on them. And I don't know if you've ever had puppies or lots of kids, but you know you count. So we went out and counted, and she had 6, and then all of a sudden I'm like, 7? And there was Keme, and she was the only puppy we weren't there for her birth. And so obviously she came in secret in the night. But she was there having a very hard time breathing. She was stuck in the canal a little too long. And she was moving like in slow motion. So I called Paul, and he came in, and he did what we call mouth to snout. And he resuscitated her, and we invigorated her, and I ran to Walgreens and got some organic baby formula because she wasn't strong enough to go to the nipple and actually drink. And we actually did that for a day and a half, every hour and a half, and until she was strong enough to take the nipple. I know. And you watch her behavior now. One of the reasons Hidden Treasures is what the name of this talk is. And you look at her behavior now and how she is with you and how she is this way. You would not guess that she's the second highest pack-ranking female based on this demeanor. And she's kind of the invisible wolf because she's so quiet. She sneaks up on you. And she crawls through your legs. She's really smart because all the rest of them kind of run around you and wait for the attention, and they're looking for your attention. She just crawls between your legs and stays there so that she has the contact and that she gets the attention anyway. And she's very friendly. And I find, I watch her sometimes with the guests and everybody who comes to visit, and they're always enthralled by the wolfier looking ones or the ones that are in your face. Go ahead, Rachel. How old is she? She's 4. She's 4 years old. But when people leave, they go away speaking Freedom's name or Dakota's name or Alaska's name or Chinoa's name. And never Keme's. Keme is not on anybody's lips when they leave. And yet she has given almost all of them the best experience. Kind of quietly, just sneaking in there, letting you pet her. She loves to have people's hands on her, and yet she's kind of the invisible one. And in a lot of ways I related to her. And for our purposes and what we wanted to do, and the reason that the puppies were born anyway, was to have a pack of wolves and to teach people and to learn ourselves about the pack dynamic, and all in order to educate, not eradicate, to end this idea and demystify this incredible creature. And of course, she's also piebald, which is one of those genetic anomalies that is very rare. So she's a treasure in that way. But in the outside world, piebald means it's a genetic anomaly. It's similar to albinoism. Like albinoism is very rare. But piebald means that wherever she's white, she has no pigment. So people have that too. People who have no pigment in certain spots. You know what I mean? And this is what, it's just a genetic anomaly that's passed down. Now, in the public world, that means she's less than rather than rare and special. Which also works for my talk today, Hidden Treasures. If we were in a, say like a television show or something like that, and they were going to produce us, this is one, these would be the ones that are piebald, would, you know, we have to get rid of them. They're not wolf looking enough. It's a, you know, and I think there are people that we feel, you know, we're in if you listen to the media and you see what's happening in the world today, you know, there's this idea that certain entities are more important than other entities, and one is more special than the other, and yet I know that the world is changing to be more accepting of everyone and everything in nature. We met a gentleman from Scotland yesterday, and he told us about Scotland, and it sounds like a dream world to live in as far as wildlife and how they're protecting each other and how they want to live. And it was really an amazing thing, and it's the government that's actually promoting it. And it's really fabulous. And that wildlife preserves and cruelty to animals especially is actually punishable with jail time. So it's quite an extraordinary thing to hear other people in other parts of the world and how they live and how they think and how they feel. And so it gives me more hope rather than what we hear in the news about what's really happening to people and where we're going to and where we are and what we really think and what we really believe. So Keme will probably stick over there with Antoinette for the morning. Anyway, I think we can do our meditative prayer and just start off with that. So wherever you are in your seat, I just wanted to bring up Margie for a second because she's made some things that you can utilize if you want to, but it's part of our Native American spirituality, and she has to come up here. She's like, do I have to come up here? Talk loudly.
These are prayer feathers. I don't know how I know this. I've just known it my whole life. You wrap the end. I used to wrap it with tape when I was little, but this is with leather. Takes on the power of the whole bird, and will take your prayers up. And that's it. That's it.
Very cool. And actually, Paul had the idea of having them available to you if you want to hold them during the service, denoting it as a prayer thing. So anybody want to hold a feather during the service? Okay. So we're going to start, for those of you who are new and haven't been here before, we're going to start with a little song. Some of you know it, some of you don't. Hold hands and feet. Good. Excellent. Exhale, let the chair that you're sitting in hold you. You will not fall. live and relive this moment with our wonderful Keme. I know that there's a higher purpose, that there is a higher energy, a higher power. There is what I call God, a great mystery, and whatever you want to call it. That there's an intelligence, a life force that lives and breathes life into everything. And that we are all connected to that one thing. We are all made of the same stuff. And so I claim for each and every one of you that you came here and will experience whatever your highest good and your heart's desires asked for this morning before you came here and traversed the weather to get here. I claim that your heart's desire is the wisdom inside of you that is being informed by the intelligence that you are connected to, that leads you one step after another, one moment after another, to your highest good, to the highest good for everyone else and everyone whose life you can touch. I know it in my bones. I claim it. I am grateful for it. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for knowing this. I release it knowing that it is done. My words come from my heart to yours. And we can all say, I'm so ready. Namaste. Amen. Aho. Whatever language solidifies that, bodies that for you. So, thank you. I'm going to give a quote here from Sophocles. One word frees us of all the weight and pain of life. That word is love. Tommy is going to sing again for us today. And he writes these beautiful poetic songs. And this was a song that he wanted to sing because it's resonating with him right now. And it's called Unseen Pain. And so welcome Tommy to sing his beautiful piece for us.
This song I wrote a friend of mine about 97 she hung herself, and this was in response to her. We all go through dark times, and I'm kind of in that slump right now. I'm on my way out of it right now, but it's just part of life. And anyway, this is called Unseen Pain. Nobody seemed to know her troubles. Nobody ever saw her cry. With a smile so bright, her loss is dull. The unseen pains of the young lady's life. Where you gonna go when the world stops turning? What happens when the sun goes down? After you're gone, this hell keeps burning. Life you lead is to carry you. This world is a place full of hidden treasures. Some are lost and found. Love and hope we could bear any weather. The unseen pain is all around. Where you gonna go when the world stops turning? What happens when the sun goes down? After you're gone, this hell keeps burning. Life you lead is to carry it around. We'd all like to know what happens. Nobody's to point or blame. Only a child knows how to be happy. No need to hide the unseen pain. Where you gonna go when the world stops turning? What happens when the sun goes down? After you're gone, this hell keeps burning. Life you lead is to carry it around. And the life you love is to carry you around. And the life you lead is
made this song, and it occurred to me that we have these ups and downs, that we're not always, you know, the face that we show when we show up at work. And we measure a lot by good and bad, right and wrong, best and better. And we grow up with these kind of ideas, and depending on how much you take in as you go along, sort of like Keme, not being, first of all, survival of the fittest. Why didn't you just see what happens? You know, I mean, if this is what our experiment is to see what happens, you know, in nature, then why not take that natural course? Because we were here and we had information and we could save her. You know, just like a tree. Paul takes care of trees, that's his whole life. So he goes and he looks at a tree, and nature has worn it down, or there's an insect infection, and there's something about that tree that is going to die unless it gets treated. And isn't it up to us not to just let the tree die, because that's a form of nature and survival of the fittest? If you know how to help the tree, help the tree. And you know, for those of you who know me and know that I grew up as an actress, you know, I got to acting class and learned that our emotions are not good or bad, they just are. Now that's a lot to take in when you've been raised, and we've all been kind of raised, that some emotions are good and some emotions are bad. But how can you be less human if you're going through all of them? We all have all of them. It's just the good ones are the only ones that are acceptable in public or even in the home sometimes, and the bad ones are, you know, in your room behind your pillow, hiding it even from yourself. And then the more you hide it from yourself, the more you hide it from yourself, and the more you bury it, the deeper it goes and the more effect it has in the unseen world. In the unseen of us. And we know that from, we really know that from all of psychology and every advancement in neurology. We know that if you bury it and you stuff it, it will turn into something that is bad. Bad for you and bad for others. And so we do this dance. And it's mostly about what's seen, how we see. How many of you did the dress this week on the internet? Saw the dress thing. Anybody see the dress thing? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? The color. The color of the dress. Right? So I saw white and gold. And it was my housekeeper who showed me about it. And she said, "Did you see this whole thing?" And she was having an argument. This is how, in her own house with her son. Her son saw black and blue, and she saw gold and white. And they had a whole argument. And by the end of the night, he's calling her crazy. "No, you're crazy, isn't this?" And she's seeing white and gold, and he's seeing blue and black. Now the actual dress turns out it was blue and black. So was she crazy? Because she saw white and gold? I saw white and gold. I saw white and gold. And then even when I knew what the dress was supposed to look like, I saw the white and gold still.
What was
And then of course I stayed on TV the whole day trying to wait to have some expert to explain it to me. And it has to do with light. But then this one gentleman came on and he said that we have evolved through evolution not to just see what's in plain sight. That we have the ability now to see the multi-layers of color affected by light in a way that makes it white and gold, whoever is seeing white and gold, even though there's black and blue in it. So then that kind of solidifies what we know scientifically about quantum physics, and that it's really what you're seeing now is perceived by you. And that images and objects and everything that we're looking at, this is Einstein, you know, waves and particles, depending on who's looking at it, is what you're seeing. So what's seen by some of us is unseen by others. But it doesn't make one person right or wrong. I'd like to think that I'm one of the more involved because I saw the white and gold. And my mind playing tricks on me, but I'm the more involved one. No, it's that we all are the same, seeing things from who we are in a way that's different from each other but not wrong. And the day we get that is the day we can live wholly in balance and wholly in harmony, I believe. So it's a funny exercise, but it took the entire world by storm, this dress thing. I don't know. It was everywhere on the internet and every television show and every news program. I saw you before. All your flaws, your imperfections, your body's going to a lot of trouble to hide something inside of you. It must be very precious. You know, the harder it is to get to know somebody, it's usually always worth it because, like Keme, you may not see by her demeanor and the way she appears in the world or doesn't appear in the world, that she has a hidden treasure in her that is important to this pack. And the role that she plays for her sisters and her brother. And now with freedom coming into the pack later, it's amazing. If we did not have her here, but most of the time unseen. Now, I was not the popular one at school. I was the Keme. You know, I was the one that, you know, the popular kids were, I grew up with all these people, but in school, when you passed in the hallways, I was the one who would say hello, and they would turn their heads and walk the other direction. Because it was not cool, you know, around their friends to know someone like me. And I didn't have time to look it up, but it came to me this morning, there was a very popular girl in school. And from afar, you know, those ones, and she was beautiful, and she had the perfect life, it seemed, and she was friendly and outgoing and homecoming queen and all of that, but she was really, you could tell she was a sweet person. And one summer, she came to our public pool with a friend of hers, and she came over, and I was alone, sitting on the steps, just by myself in the pool, and she came and talked to me, and had a conversation with me. And you can just imagine my face, like, you're talking to me? And I remember not even saying a word to her, and she was asking me questions, and I was giving her these short little answers, but mostly I was flabbergasted that she saw me and came over and said hello. And then she had a conversation with me. And she probably does not know on any level how significant that was to my life at that time. And what a generous gift she gave me because she saw me. I spent most of my time trying to be with this. But she saw. And she ventured there. And she actually genuinely wanted to say hello and say something to me to get to know me. I never saw her again or spoke to her again except at school and from afar, you know, with this image of this popular girl who had it all. But that day she saw me. And she made me feel seen, and she made me feel worth it, you know? And that's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to do for a person. Because there's no way that she did not know, because we all grew up together, who I was, and that I had been there, and that she ventured there to do a good thing for me. And she may not have thought, I'm going to go be nice to this girl because nobody's nice to her. And I don't know her, but I know of her, and who knows what was going through her head. And I can't even remember her name now, but I will look it up. I'm not going to dig out my yearbook. But I'm here today to say thank you to that lady who saw my unseen pain and came over with a smile and wanted to say hi. Let's have that. Colette. Bob Dylan says, behind every beautiful thing, there's some kind of pain. And John Lennon says, one thing you can't hide is when you're crippled inside. So these two mega talents, I mean, that emerged with their music, sang for people like me, sang for people, wrote for people, so that I could feel seen and known and heard. And I honor them for that too. J.K. Rowling says, you care so much you feel as though you will bleed to death with the pain of it. The pain of it. Mess that up, someone say it. You care so much you feel as though you will bleed to death with the pain of it. It's a good thing that you can hurt for somebody. It's a good thing you can hurt for yourself. It's a good thing that you have compassion. It's a good thing that you feel enough to love your fellow human being and to risk your heart with them. It's a good thing. It is not a bad thing. You know, we experience things in life that take us aback. And I had this conversation yesterday with this gentleman from Scotland, and for some of you, you know that I was in New York during 9/11. And there are things your brain will also keep you from seeing something new. Because I was woken up by my friend after the first plane hit. And I went to the television set. And then all of a sudden, the second plane hit the second building. But I didn't see the plane. You know how they did it? They kept going over and over the images of it. I kept seeing the second building blow up, but I swear to God, I never saw the plane. It took days to see footage again of the second plane hitting the building before I finally saw the plane. So standing in my living room, it was so unbelievably painful and hurtful and unbelievable in itself and unfathomable that I literally, looking at it, could not see the plane. And I know that there's other times in my life and other times that I have not seen what was unfathomable to see. That for some reason, even though my eyes are open and my brain is working, I could not see that image. I could not see the actual thing. I could not see the event because it was so horrible. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. And somewhere inside of you are things that need to be addressed, especially if they're still invisible to you and you're trying to keep it at bay from affecting who you are and affecting your happiness. I'm looking at everybody and the energy in the room. This is supposed to be good news. And yet, what is precious about that situation is that even though it was the most horrific day on the planet, it was also when I walked outside and I saw human kindness and I saw the effect. It was the best of humanity I'd ever seen and still have ever seen and yet to see. The way people responded to each other and what happened afterwards, the humanity of the community was so impressive. It shifted me to another place. I didn't go to the bad place. I went to, oh my God, look at these people and how much they care. And this is my community. You know, people, think of New York City as everybody like bumping into each other like sardines and missing each other. All of a sudden, everybody was with each other. Everybody was experiencing the same thing. Everybody was jumping in to help. People were driving from all over the country to come and make peanut butter jelly sandwiches for the firefighters. Just amazing. It was an amazing pool of humanity. Really, really incredible. What was very hard to do, but yet was in our face, was this whole city was papered with flyers with missing people, the lost and found. Union Square was covered with candles and with treasures, to honor the people, hoping that they would find them or that they would appear. But papered with, the lost and found and the dogs and cats and stuff. But just imagine an entire city just papered with people's faces and their names and please contact. And so you knew how precious each and every one of these people were to their families. I think we have to remember who we are so we can remember who you are. So that Keme, even though she's like the whitest and the spotted and the wolf that shouldn't be a wolf or that should have been let go, or what I mean? It's like this was, how does she have less value than something else? How is that bad? It just needs to be addressed so that she can live in the light. She has a purpose. She got here. She survived that situation. And she did it because we were there to help her. There's a book that was introduced to me last week by Barbara Altman, The Spiritual Bypass. There's a lot of spiritual places these days in the way that, they want you to only to think in the light. There's only the light, there's only love, and everything else does not exist. Sort of like Scarlet in the film that we. I'm not going to think about that today. I'll think about that tomorrow. Because back that way. Doesn't mean it went away. Just because I didn't see the plane hit the building doesn't mean the plane wasn't there. But this is the wisdom of this teaching, this book, is that instead of trying to get beyond our personal history, we need to learn to relate to it with as much clarity and compassion as possible, so that it serves rather than obstructs our healing and our awakening. This also means relating in similar fashion to our tendency to spiritually bypass, casting a lucid, caring eye upon the part of us and then who buys into it. Basically, you are a holistic person. You are whole, flaws and all, scars and all. You cannot escape this life without any that I know of. When we remain outside or removed from our fear, we are trapped by it. But when we actually do get inside, cultivating intimacy with our fear, think about that. We are no longer trapped by it, discovering, and not just intellectually, but that it is darkly contracted energy and knotted up vitality that can be freed when we become intimate with it. A very, very smart man said to me when I was at one of my worst places in my life, and he said, "You're supposed to be sad right now." And he said, instead of hating where you are, embrace all of it. And he took this big movement with his arms, and he like a big hug to yourself. Embrace all of it. Get intimate with it. It's sort of like the boogeyman, it's like if you don't address it and you don't chase it down, you don't look it in the eye, it has power over you. Real shadow work does not leave us intact. It is not some neat and tidy process, but rather an inherently messy one, as vital and unpredictably alive as birth. Who's seen the vagina monologues or read about it? Anybody here? The vagina monologues. I never gave birth, but there is a part of the play where they talk about what it was like to give birth, what it was like to be in the room. And from an outsider's point of view, it just sounds like a bloody mess. So for those of you who have children, experience that awake. It's hysterically funny. The people who were mothers in the room were literally on the floor, doubled over with pain, laughing so hard about this bloody, messy, incredible process it takes to give birth and to actually give life. It was a painful process watching Alaska do it. I've never wanted to do it, but I don't have to think about it anymore. But I'm a little envious of it. The ass it kicks is the one upon which you are sitting. The pain it brings up is the pain we've been fleeing most of our life. The psycho-emotional breakdown it catalyzes are the precursors to hugely relevant breakthroughs. Now that's a lot of words, you know, but it will kick you ass. Who has not experienced that, going through stuff that has not kicked your ass? But it's very, very important to get through, especially losses. The doors it opens are doors that have shown up year after year in our dreams, awaiting our entry. Real shadow work not only breaks us down, but also breaks us open, turning frozen yesterday into fluid now. The worst part of holding the memories is not the pain, it's the loneliness of it. Memories need to be shared. If you see somebody who is trying to be unseen, who looks like they're in pain and going through a bad time, running the other direction is just a sign that there's something in you that needs to be addressed that relates to that. Because it's too scary to face it in yourself, you cannot face it with another human being. And at the time when they need you the most is probably the time when you need them the most as well. To share your story, to hold hands, give me something to hold on to. We were given each other to hold on to each other through those times, through the good times too. Carl Jung says, life itself flows from springs both clear and muddy. And Oprah Winfrey says, turn your wounds into wisdom. Pretty heavy stuff. Though we might have precious little, it is still precious. Let's rush. Every single person is sacred. Sacred means special, precious, a treasure of true beauty. That means you. That means you. There's more beauty than our eyes can bear. Precious things have been put into our hands, and to do nothing to honor them is to do great harm. We've been put in each other's hands. We've been given this planet to live on. It has been put in our hands. It is a precious thing. We are precious to each other. And you should be precious to yourself. There is a scientific study that they did on tears. There are different tears depending on what your emotion is. And there are different toxins and elements inside those tears in the science. So if you're sad over a loss, there are different elements, and it is releasing things out of your body. It is necessary. It's just as important as snot. Seriously. And yet, what do? Okay, I can't do that. I can't do that. We wipe away the tears, but we blow our nose. You know? Tears are unacceptable. And the elements of different kinds of pain, different levels of things, that they tested the tears afterwards, they all have different elements in them. It's a way for it to exercise itself from your body so it's not held inside. You're supposed to cry, otherwise why would we? Why would we? And even still, I know this, I will apologize sometimes when I lose it. I'm so sorry, I cried in your living room. And yet, it's so important. It is so important. dive into the oceans, often find treasures no one ever heard of. Take a leap of faith. Every soul is having a treasure inside them. You just have to dive till the very end of their misty soul. Something really precious is waiting for you there. And once again, I don't advise when you're hurting to an extent where it feels dangerous to you, that you go into your bedroom and put your pillow over your head and have that experience by yourself. I encourage you to go take somebody's hand and say, I need to hold on to someone like that. I need to share what I'm feeling. Will you listen? And can you see? My favorite thing about the movie Avatar is I see you. If we would just take hello out of our language and say, I see you. That's actually what namaste means. Namaste is the God in me sees the God in you, and together we are one. I am uniquely different than every single one of you, but not less than anyone. And you uniquely are just like me as yourself. And you are mathematically perfect in every single way. And we were not put here, and we do not have a divine purpose to come here and hide our treasure. The wolves don't hide it from each other. They don't hide it from nature. They do what they're supposed to do. And nature does that. It's only us that takes ourselves out of the game. Because we bought into somebody's idea that we were not enough. And I stand here knowing, and I believe it with every single part of my soul, that there is no such thing. There is no way you are less than anything except God's expression on this planet. Created for that purpose, to take your treasure, your gift, and share it, not just with the world, but with each other. And so I'm going to ask Tommy to come up and sing his last song. It's called Prisoner of Love. A Prison of Love, right? Prison of Love.
I'm a little bit tired of the status quo. Everybody feeling the need. Follow the leader is the way to go. Nobody was following me. I was lost, I was blind, I was lonely, looking for the light of love. At the cost of the time that's only part of the prison of love. I was sentenced by my own conviction. I was judged by nobody but me. Living a life of addiction, and my love's going to be set free. I was lost, I was blind, I was lonely, looking for the light of love. At the cost of the time that's only part of the prison of love. Anybody feeling the need? Follow the leader, it's the way to go. The leader was down on her knee. She was lost, she was blind, she was lonely, looking for the light of love. Pay the cost to determine that it's only part of the prison of love.
I'm going to read this again because I found it and I love it. It makes me feel like this is what I'm doing here and what we're doing here with Nature's Path. What orbit of the planets has put you and me in this place at this moment where time takes a breath and we dance on the edge of our dream? Your dreams inform you what you're supposed to do and who you are. And do not look outside for somebody else's vision of what the colors are. You know your own colors. Inside of you is your answer. And then share your light. Step into it and share it. And so I just finished this day always grateful that you come and you hear me and that you meet these animals and treasure them like we do. And the gifts that they give me. And reminding me who I am all the time. Because when they look at you, they see you. And then I see them back. And I take that information and I see you the way they see you. And that's my task. So there are refreshments. Please stay afterwards. I don't know if Paul wants to go get some bowls and bring them back because it's kind of wet outside. I don't know if it's raining, but we can see what we can do about visiting them maybe in here instead of the cold. We have the burden basket available to you. It's a Native American ceremony for those of you who've not done it before. The idea is that you're not supposed to carry your burdens. They carried their burdens to gather things, but the sizes were different based on how much someone could carry. And you were not supposed to carry more than you could actually carry without getting injured, because they couldn't afford to lose a tribe member for their contribution. And then when they had them empty, they would hang them outside their houses to remind them not to take their burdens into their sacred space, which is where their home was and their family. And it's just a reminder that way to other people coming to your house to leave their burdens outside and not bring them into you. And you know, it's interesting because of this talk, just so that I clarify that your feelings are not burdens. Make sense? Because I just told you to go to somebody, take their hands and let them know how you're feeling, and then I just said that there's this ceremony where you want to leave your burdens outside. There's a difference between sharing your feelings and your story and your memories with somebody so that you're not alone and you don't feel lonely in it, and coming in and dumping on somebody about what you hate and complaining about your life. Complaining is just a way to mix it all up and stay where you are. You leave your burdens outside, but you bring your whole self in. And that then is the embracing of that love in that sacred place with each other. Just wanted to clarify that, especially after that talk. But we have the potlatch area over there where people have come and donated something. So if you see anything that speaks to you, then it's yours. Take it. Take it with you. And then if you have something that you want to contribute, continue to do that. The way we raise money for the wolves is doing these kind of things, you know, an opening up of the Wolf Wisdom Talks, or the beautiful items that have been handmade back there. So if you're interested in something, please let me know. All of it goes to the wolves. You were spiritually fed today. please share the word, Nature's Path Healing Center, which is the entire property and what we want to do with it. The wolves participate in that. The website will be up by Wednesday. Yay! But you can now go to Nature's Path Healing Center YouTube channel and see all the past talks and see this talk. Ashley, we want to thank Ashley for doing all of this for us. Yes, if you can't be here, then you can be here with us, and then share that with people. So the more we open up this community, the more it helps the wolves, the more it helps us do our mission to help the wolves in the wild. The burden basket is there, so you can write your burdens on them, and you can burn them. Paul has made 2 fires out there, so you can burn them and take some tobacco and make the offering. And especially today, if this talk touched you in a certain way, that there's something that you want to release and let go, even if you can't do it with a person, at least give it up. Up and out and let it go there. Let the elements of nature have it then, and God knows, or whatever you call it. So I thank you so much for coming. We're going to end with our song, Face of God. There's some sign language to it, and I'll do that while Paul's getting ready for it. So it's you are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. So you're welcome to join me. Share your treasure. Namaste.